Christmas. No white Christmas here. It's Monday, December 18th. I am sorry there have been so few podcasts since the beginning of the fall, but definitely the last month or so. I think I might have mentioned it here. I said it somewhere. Once December wraps up, actually from Thanksgiving through the end of this year, like 5 weeks or so, I will have only been at work for like half of the days, and that may or may not include weekends. But I have not let my days to use PTO, whatever you want to call them, go to waste this year. I checked all the boxes. I'm like, wow, I have more in the can than I have than I thought about. So let's use them. What did I do last week? Oh, and some things I want to do. She got back home. Maybe no much worse for the wear. Another app that has given me a nostalgic feeling from 2015. One of my favorite lists of the year. We will do that. And since another place there is closing, let's give people a place to live if we can. Last week in my time off, I did a lot of drinking, a lot of eating of pizza, a lot of aloneing, a lot of sleeping. I listened to a Yale podcast, caught up with some episodes. There was a Civil War one that I've liked for many years now. This one dove into the early Middle Ages. And now I know a lot more about the years 400 through about up to the beginning of the Renaissance, around the 1400s. Not my most favorite time in history, but all I knew before were some Vikings and some other things, the Crusades. Now I feel much more educated, and I heard the word Constantinople more times in the last 2 weeks than I did in my entire life. So that was nice to listen to. But it sounds rather pathetic. Drinking, eating all the pizza, 3 orders of pizza, I think, aloneing. I saw friends Monday and Tuesday night. Other than that, nothing. Alex even wondered where I was, and we spoke. We had like an exchange of 4 text messages from the time I was off a Friday ago, all the way through then. Tuesday, I just had to like kind of shut things down, and I stayed off social media as well. I don't want to think back to all this stuff, so I'll read what I had written up. There's a phrase called functioning alcoholic. It's what it is. I think I've descended into a functioning misanthrope. I can't do what I do, this, while actually loathing people as much as I'd lead you to believe. There was a podcast I listened to several months ago, and it crystallized some psychological calculus many of us already innately grasp. Other people's words reframe what's there, but we can't clearly see it. That's why we go to therapists and counselors and sometimes thoughtful friends. Putting all life-threatening instances or life-saving lottery winnings aside, we require several good things to happen to balance or counter one bad thing that happens to us over a course of days, weeks, whatever it might be. Depending where your mood was for the day, maybe it's more than several. The bad things weigh so much heavier than the good things. We need lots of good things to balance the scale of maybe just one bad thing. And I'm not talking like catastrophic, a bad email, a canceled appointment that you were excited about. I know this and I expect this and account for this each day. Yet I shake my head in disgust, and frustration and incredulity daily at the littlest things too. Moods are almost always boundaried by hope and expectations. Set them appropriately, and you will sail through days smoother than most. For several years, I've been unyielding that the world really is better than it's ever been. Perhaps it's semantics, or as I say, verbal gymnastics, but maybe the world is better, but many of its inhabitants get more vexing by the day. This very unusual lament for me, I usually sardonically keep it to roundabouts and poor grammar online, is perhaps just the product of a very successful but draining year. My tank is lower than many, and I commend and envy many of you and the days you endure. and I need to better recharge with all these days off the next 2 weeks. This is not at you or likely anyone reading this, just a constellation of incidents the past weeks and months. My therapist doesn't see an issue with my binging and reclusive behavior on the weekends. I constantly ask her to assess. Maybe she is trying to pull some prescience out of me that I don't see, and it's stay at home. The phrase I stumbled on other than functioning misanthrope was... I've heard of psychological, emotional bandwidth. My interpersonal bandwidth was just shot last week, and that's why I didn't want to see anybody. I can't say that it is fully recharged. I knew getting back to work and giving me a little bit of routine, no matter how few wins I might be able to get out of the remaining days I have at work at the end of the year aren't going to do a lot for me, but having a routine... And that would have helped perk me up just a bit, but I am not yet fully recharged. My interpersonal gas tank is emptied. Some of the things that brought that on for me, I'm having an issue with a friend. I'll leave that where that is. It's not Alex. It's not Jaden. When I got my shower cleaned, it was $455. And I was let down at unthorough is not a word. How unthorough the job was. They did a phenomenal job, like cleaning the tiles and the walls and stuff. And then the cutout that I have in the wall, I was kind of surprised they didn't do a better job cleaning or polishing the tile on the floor, which I think I ripped some of the polish off of. I expected that to be a little glossier. And I saw this as I was reviewing with it, and I was kind of like apoplectic about it. And I was thinking to myself, why aren't you going to clean the door, the glass door in my shower? Didn't put a fingertip on it. I eventually wound up cleaning that so I could get a better feel of a clean shower the first day of my time off last week. And I think I got the door cleaned pretty well. But where there's that intersection where the two sides overlap, that was tough to get into. But that's why I think I did an okay enough job. But that's why I paid them to do it. That was disappointing that I paid a lot of money, which I'm fortunate to have. And I'm going to spend it for my favorite place in the house, my shower. And I did not have my expectations met. Tuesday, it was Saturday or Sunday. I went to go refill a prescription at Kroger. I did not get any text message updates, and usually I do get them. So I had the time Tuesday morning. I hop over there. It's 8:03. I'm the first customer, and there's a woman who's working the pickup part of the counter, and she sees me. Didn't really acknowledge me, and she's a nice lady that I've interacted with a bunch of times picking up prescriptions. No, just, hey, give me a second or anything like that. Like, you're open. When I know there's a lot of things that trip us up and distract us, but you just opened, and I'm there. And I'm like, can we get this taken care of? Couldn't you have done whatever you were doing a few minutes before you opened up? Whatever. It's just a couple of minutes, but it's these, you can call them I hate the microaggressions, buzzword I don't like, micro annoyances. So that was what it was. But the bigger deal was that combined with the fact, and I know I'm whining. I told you I don't usually do this stuff, but it's been really hard to manage. And that's why I just wanted to sit alone last week and only deal. And the only kind of annoyances I wanted to deal with were Andre telling me he wanted to go out after he clearly had just been out a little while ago, where they wanted to eat way earlier than I wanted to feed them. I fed them some days at 11:30 in the morning. They don't eat till I get home at night after 6 o'clock. But their schedule was thrown off by me being home. So I told you I dropped the refill off on Saturday or Sunday. I go over there Tuesday, and I'm like, hey, is that filled? I know there's 2 different dosages. The one that you have current is 30 milligrams, but I made the decision to go back onto 20. And then when I dropped it off, the woman said, you're out of refills on those. Okay, we'll just, we'll call the doctor and get that fire back up again. Cool. The woman who took a moment to wait on me said, oh, no, they didn't refill that at all. No, I don't see that in here. But you do have 5 refills left on the one that she said you didn't. And I just put my head in my hands. And like I might have lamented before about certain doctors' offices or medical facilities, thank God I don't have like emergent situations that many people have. Because what if somebody else who had a lethal situation where they needed those pills or whatever it was, like I can wait, but your mistake, you're playing with people's lives here. Very frustrating. So I spent most of my week thinking, do I have to see people anymore? I really don't want to. But it was nice to get back into a routine today. Middle of last week, I went away from work, wondering how we could misplace, how we could not find a Great Dane, which is like a miniature horse of a dog, Athena, here in South Toledo. And I had seen in a couple of places. I said I'd seen, not I seen. I saw it a couple of places that Athena made her way back home. And some other people tagged me in some things. I think her mom's name, was it Ashley McGilvery? Did I get that right? Or am I misreading whose post I read? It looked like Athena was good to go with her brother or her sister, likely the pair of dogs that I see when I take Glendale home to go to Monette's some nights. So, and I think there might be something wrong with her lips, but thank goodness she was absolutely as okay as can be, being out on her own for a week or so. It used to be Mother Nature, Father Time. Did I get that right? Mother Nature, Father Time. Old Man Winter as well. Almost all of them, always undefeated. I'll include in that nostalgia. I had an interesting nostalgic feeling last week. I stumbled onto Pluto TV, whether I found it in my PlayStation apps or on my TV that's connected. Pluto TV. One of these off-brand ones. I would compare it very generally to Tubi, which focuses on like a lot of B and C movies and a lot of black programming. A lot of stuff on there that I've enjoyed. They have my old cartoon shows from the 80s that I enjoy. So Tubi, it's free. I like it a lot. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll hit the jackpot again with Pluto TV. And it has, the channels are outlined by genre. So like British dramas, cop shows, medical shows, true crime, sci-fi, 80s, 90s, a lot like the channels on like satellite radio or whatever other thing you might listen to. There was even sports things on there. And I dug into the sci-fi part because there was 2 channels, different ones, running Star Trek, seemingly around the clock. It was 9 o'clock, or it was like 9:10. As I found this thing, and I see that the episode started at 9 o'clock. I flipped it on, and I'm like, oh, I enjoyed this episode. I've seen this, dozens of times. Am I describing anything that we used to do? I don't know. Some of us maybe as like little as just like 3 years or so ago. It was like cable. It was as much as we love the feeling as having our shows as on demand and movies, having those things as on demand as possible. It was a refreshing and welcoming feeling to flip this app on, go to the channels that I have found to like, and go, okay, I'm a little late to this. I'm 8 minutes in. I'm 18 minutes in, but let me watch this. And it was actually, this is going to sound ludicrous for where we are. It was actually kind of nice that there were commercials at like the usual time slots of watching like an hour or half hour long show. So I can pop into the kitchen, so I could go let the dogs outside. Now I know, Eric, you can hit pause on these things and what you're watching and go outside and go do what you need to. I know, but sometimes that disrupts things because it's not a natural pause. Where these shows have those commercial breaks timed into how they were created. It was a very nostalgic, comforting, familiar feeling. I enjoyed it, and I will continue to flip on Pluto TV. I see that Big Lots at the Southland Shopping Center is closing. Only just a couple of weeks after I discovered City Trends. And they're a little bit like they have certain sections like Home Goods or Burlington or TJ Maxx. I mean, I'm looking for things to collect like Transformer stuff. Big Lots is closing. So another place for retail, which that place is zoned for, that is failing there. Now, I don't know what the reasons are. It probably is like a lot of things. It's a combination of things. It's not needed there since there's fewer places to shop in that spot. It's a destination, and people aren't going to just walk in as they're walking in a shopping center where there's lots of other places. Again, a lot of things, a lot of reasons. But it's closing. And that shopping center has been of much discussion because you've probably heard, and we've talked about it here a couple of times, there is a desire to rezone that or at least put up some apartments. Affordable living for people making anywhere between $15 and $25 an hour, up to like 3 bedrooms, I think, which that's tight. And those people, that's not wealth, but we are short millions of homes, millions of roofs over people's heads across the country, maybe tens of millions in some way. And the housing crisis is probably slowly getting better, at least as mortgage rates have probably peaked. There'll be some rate drops. Things will be a little bit more affordable, but that doesn't mean we have enough places for people. Point being here, we have another place, another big gap that is coming, a big empty storefront. Big Lots is a pretty sizable department store where we can get creative. We can potentially get creative with finding people places to live. And I know that these places are zoned one way, but also built for ways to only allow businesses and certain plumbing things and bathrooms and how they're heated and cooled. But you know what? We're in such a crisis right now with so many people underhoused, so many people unhoused, so many people who are paying through the nose, renting apartments at a place like once a week now. Canyon Cove has seemingly something bad happening there that the public can find out about. A couple weeks ago, it was a tenant wasn't having their heat tended to. I'm not sure if that was the place where someone was having to pee in the bathtub because of plumbing issues that weren't handled by a landlord. I did see that somebody had their Kia something. There's a TikTok thing where Kia's in another vehicle. They keep getting stolen. There's a TikTok challenge. Someone's Kia Rio or something from Canyon Cove. As I was reading the Toledo Reddit thread, they're talking about Kia and TikTok. And I get to the end and said, the person that said it, yeah, it happened at Canyon Cove. We have a living crisis, like just about across the board. And I know lots of people don't want what they believe is a particular type of person living where they are. But if that person has a roof over their head, they can become a part of your community, and you might be shunning somebody who might not only be a good part of your community, but might be a great teacher for your kid. Somebody who you love seeing as your pharmacist at the Kroger, or they help you get your produce or whatever it might be. They have become your favorite bartender. So you're shunning these people just because them trying to have a place to live. And if you don't have a place to live, it's going to be really hard to find a job. So it's like cat and mouse. It's like chicken and egg. So let's do the roof first. So with all these empty places, as challenging as it might be, let's at least consider putting roofs over people's heads. One of my favorite articles at the end of every year is license plates that were denied here. Of course, state of Ohio. It's because if they're offensive, profane, obscene, explicit. For example, several people who do not care about certain things in their lives have requested plates like no FCKS, O, F asterisk # KS. Plates that are so offensive they could be reasonably expected to provoke a violent response from a viewer without additional comment. Plates that advocate immediate lawlessness or lawless activities. Some of the ones that I can give to you that I liked are, there's Talho, Tallhoe, Shaggin, Shaggn, Poops, Ass and Gas is pretty funny. For some reason, LMA0000 was denied, but there's hundreds on this, and there's the obvious ones like aw shit, AWESHT. I can see why we can't have that one on the back of somebody's car. What about SOBR space AF? SOBR space AF. BISH2, BISH3, and then there's also 4. Lots of fun names on there. Some obvious why they can't be on the back of your car. Others, that's actually kind of funny. So thanks for being here. Wasn't sure if we were going to get a podcast on, but I didn't rule it out. Saw that we had plenty of stuff to talk about, at least to get back going on a Monday. And yes, you heard right. The UT marching band is required. They're contractually required to be at UT's bowl game. So they are holding a fundraising event effort so they can make it out there. I'm glad you can make it to today's podcast.